Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. So we're continuing the Halachot, the Shulchan Aruch Siman Resh Nun Zayin, the laws of insulating, and a few practical cases. So we might have a situation, let's say, where the person's dafina and he wants to put, a bag of rice in the dafina, so that it cooks, but it's also separate. So there's a discussion: is that considered as if I'm insulating that food in the heat of the other food? Now, we're talking about even putting it before Shabbat, but the halacha is what's the exact wording? En hatmana ochel be'ochel. It's not considered insulating food into another food. It's not considered the issue of insulating. The issue of insulating is when I have food and I insulate it with garments or with items that it's to retain the heat or maybe to add the heat, and then if it's not doing its job, I might come and stoke the fire. Well, that's what the whole issue is. But insulating food within another food is not an issue, and therefore certainly you're allowed to put in a bag of rice, or that's just an example, or let's say a kugel or a kishka, the Ashkenaz stuff, inside a cholent or inside a dafina before Shabbat. This is all again before Shabbat. Even though it looks like it's insulating, but insulating food within food is not an issue. Now on Shabbat, it's not allowed because it's cooking. It's going to cook the rice, and that's not something that's allowed. This is I saw from the Ben Ish Chai, but I think they might have done this in Morocco. Maybe the younger ones among us might let me know. But they say that when they would have, let's say, the dafina, they would also put dough around, because you have the lid of the pot, and they would put dough around so that no heat would escape. And you know what I'm talking about? Is that something maybe someone have seen? So they would put. That's also a sign who's belonged to. But everybody did that, and it seemed to keep the heat in. Now, so number one, that's not an issue of insulating. There was just maybe a question of, can you use dough for that purpose? Is it considered wasting? But it's not an issue, and it's just that when you do break it apart, then gather those pieces of dough and dispose of it like you would dispose of bread in a respectful way, not in a different way. Now, something much more practical is the law of the Crockpot. This is the big question. The Crockpot is a pot that is also insulated, but it's it's inside an item that is heating your food. So it's not just from the bottom, but it's kind of insulated. So the Rabbi Avad Yosef says as follows. Number one is that when generally the crockpot's used as a slow cooker, it's used for your dafina, your chamin, for Shabbat morning. So in general, there's opinions that, as we mentioned, that hatmana for the next morning is not an issue, because you're not going to come and stoke the fire, because it's going to take a long time anyways to cook, and so therefore hatmana for the next day, for Shabbat morning, is anyways not a question. Number two is that there are opinions that say that the hatmana is only an issue where it's fully covered, where I'm fully insulating from all sides. Here, the top is not. There's a lid, but the top is not insulated, and therefore, with those two together, that makes it allowed. So one can use a crockpot on Shabbat. But he says, as we learned in the laws of stoking the fire, with those chazaran sheiyah, one should cover the knob so that you won't come to maybe higher or lower it. So put a piece of foil or whatever to cover the knob of your crockpot. And lastly is they have a thing called a warming drawer, where some ovens or some just an item, it's a warming drawer. So you like a drawer, you put in your food and you keep it, and you close the drawer to keep it warm. So that is not an issue of hatmana, not an issue of insulating, because when you're putting it into that drawer, there's air in between your pot and in that drawer. It's not like you're insulating it with something like wrapping it. Rather, there's air there. It's a hot item. It's this warming drawer, but because it's not right on your pot, it's not an issue of insulating. Okay, that was some practical cases for today. Now that we changed the hour, Mincha is much earlier. Mincha is at 4:45 tonight and all week long. So let's try to make the effort to be here. Have a good day and Shavua Tov.